What is the number one thing that separates multimillionaires, multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs from all the rest? What is the number one foundational element that separates people that play the game of life and business at the highest levels and people like yourself watching this right now? If this is your first time on the channel, my name is Omar Elattar, host and creator of the Passion podcast, entrepreneur and committed soul who's on a mission to humanize greatness one story at a time through the podcast. And I really wanted to hop on here today and share with you this foundational element that I've realized is the number one most powerful way to distinguish in your own life, and by comparing yourselves to the lives and businesses of others, that really makes the difference, right? What is that number one foundational element that I've learned, not just through secondhand knowledge, but through actually sitting down with some of the most profound thought leaders and entrepreneurs on the planet? People you may know, like Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Dan Locke, maybe people you don't know. Maybe a multi-billion-dollar entrepreneur, John Paul DeJoria, who founded Patron Tequila and literally just sold it this year for $5.1 billion, when at age 37 he was living in his car, homeless. You know, what is it that separates people at the highest levels? Now, whether you aspire to be a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur or a billion-dollar entrepreneur, that doesn't matter. The premise is the same. If you want to get more out of life, you'll want to understand this concept and apply it to your own life. So with no further ado, here it is. Here is the number one foundational thing that I've noticed that separates all human beings, and that is urgency. Urgency. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you hear the word urgency, you might think things like, quickly or imperfectly or abruptly. But I want to encourage you to revisit the concept of urgency through a different lens, through the passionate few lens, if you will. Because I want to see you be one of the passionate few who do versus the many who just wish and talk and complain. And I want to be an example of that in my own life, and I'm sure you do too. And basically, and again, guys, I want to let you know I'm going to be sharing these tips every week, so make sure to smash that subscribe button if you're enjoying this. But basically, what I want to talk to you guys today is about that sense of urgency, and how by creating a sense of urgency and having a new definition of your own life, you can transform the pace at which you achieve. So here we go. Urgency, and this is a new way that I would encourage you to look at it and jot it down in your notes so you remember it. You don't just hear it once, so you actually recall it and apply it to your own life. And that is that urgency is the difference of time that it takes to go from step as a thought to action. That is to ask yourself, how quickly can you close the gap between the thought and action? How quickly, as Grant Cardone puts it, can you monetize your ideas? Now, whether it's business you want to apply it to, life or relationship, whatever it is, I want to encourage you that by taking urgent, imperfect action, you will build tremendously more momentum than if you sit there and wait for things to be perfect. And I'll give you an example in my own life. Is when I wanted to start the podcast, I had no clue how to get in touch with big name guests. How did I go from 2.5 years ago being totally broke, being overweight, working a job that I totally hated, and getting broken up with, being at my absolute rock bottom at 24 years old? How did I go from that to sitting down with some of the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet, cumulatively doing almost $10 billion in revenue, almost in excess of that at this stage, certainly, the amount of people we've interviewed. But how did that happen? Well, I want to tell you, it came from me taking urgent steps. It came from me taking urgent action. I had all the limiting beliefs and fears that you probably would have. And, as a coach and consultant to people who want to start their own shows and go from zero to launching their own podcast, which I help people do and have found tremendous fulfillment in because I've seen the powers of it in my own life. And I'll do another video with the, top 3 things that I've learned from podcasting and why I think it's the best thing for you to do in 2019. And I'm really stoked for all my coaching clients because they're doing this. But when I started out, I had all the same limiting beliefs that you have. I had no idea how to get equipment. I had no idea who to hire, how it would work, what's the workflow, how do I book guests, how do I even know where to start? Is this even worth my time? Am I better off spending money, somewhere where I can ROI and make money directly right away? Right? I had all these questions, and if you're like me, you probably have wanted to start a podcast. And I want to know. Comment in the comments below and let me know. Like, you're probably where I was. Like, you want to start a podcast, but you were plagued by all these things, and as a result, complexity was the enemy of your execution. And you probably wanted to, thought about it, but for whatever reason said, I'll do it later, or you had more important priorities. I totally get it. I've been there. But it came from me, in spite of all those fears, in spite of all those uncertainties, me saying, you know what? F this. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take immediate, urgent action. And although at the time I was fueled by a chip on my shoulder from a breakup, whatever it is fueling you, I want to encourage you to do it. Take urgent action, because I didn't know how to do it, but I literally would just cold reach out. Literally, what's the first thing I thought of? If I want to reach out to Grant Cardone or big name, I would just literally find out their number, find out the company's number, ring, ring, ring. And while my heart's beating fast, I'm calling Grant Cardone's office. No clue how to do it, who to get in touch with, what to say. I have no followers, no nothing. But as the phone is ringing, my heart's beating, and I use that time, that extra 6 seconds from the time it's ringing till they answer and say, hi, Grant Cardone's office, to figure out what I'm going to say. And although it wasn't perfect, most of the time it definitely wasn't perfect, it would get me to a next step. It would get me some feedback. And very often success, or the journey to it, as you'll find out from some of my interviews if you're a fan of the show, with entrepreneurs who've gone from zero to high levels of success, is that there's a lot of bumps in the road. Success isn't linear. It's kind of more unlinear, if anything, and over a sustained period of time, those results compound because of your actions, and they compound even faster if they're urgent actions. So what I did is I would literally take imperfect action. I would send cold emails, send cold DMs on Instagram. Hey, can I interview for my podcast? And I would get no after no after no after no after no after no. But I realized there's certain strategies, and so I started pivoting my approach, and urgently pivoting my approach. And guess what? I found out that even though I was taking urgent, imperfect, anxious action, in the long run, I started to get yeses. And one yes turned into 2 yeses, into 3 yeses, into 4 yeses. And then my views went from nobody viewing it to the hundreds, to the thousands, to now cumulatively in the millions. And that all happened because I decided to take urgent, imperfect action. And anybody on the road to success will tell you that, nobody really knows what the hell they're doing. At this age, I can tell you that it's not just hearsay. I'm not learning it from some book. I've actually sat down and had the good fortune of, to a certain degree, having a ticket to history, to get to sit down with some of the most accomplished minds on the planet and ask them directly. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, that is the number one thing above all else. Although there's many things that separate people, that truly separates human beings and will take you to a new level in even quicker time. And that is by being urgent, having a higher sense of urgency, whether it be in your scheduling, whether it be in writing down your goals, whether it be in just the way you communicate. If you can create that sense of urgency as a culture in your business, with your team, or even in your own mind to get you from, where you're at now to the next level, I would encourage you to do that. Maybe you don't know the next step, but just take action on the next best step you can think of. Even if it's calling somebody and anxiously your heart beating, just guessing what to say when they answer for an interview for a podcast. Or maybe it's starting a podcast. Or maybe it's launching a vlog or shooting a 10-minute video on the beach imperfectly with no shoes as the sun already set. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you to remember that your mistakes will get buried in your results anyways. So take immediate urgent action, stop procrastinating, and realize that the quicker you can monetize your ideas, the quicker you can go from thought to action. Even if it's imperfect, the more you'll have feedback. And the quicker you have feedback, the more you can pivot and tweak your results until you get what you want. You see, in life, we don't always fail. We always succeed in producing an outcome. Tony Robbins talks about this concept powerfully. If you guys study Tony, he's somebody who's radically left an impression in my mind that I'll never be able to shake, a permanent, lasting impression on my life. And that is because he taught me that concept of taking immediate, imperfect action. Because action creates momentum. So you always succeed in producing a result. So if you're taking urgent action, maybe the thumbnail is not going to come out perfect on that YouTube video, or the video is not going to come out perfect, or the editing is not going to come out perfect, or the caption isn't going to be perfect, or maybe your logo for the business, or maybe your team or the product or whatever, and you find yourself stalling, waiting for perfect, and it never comes. Well, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you've probably noticed in your own life, haven't you? When you listen to an interview or you read an autobiography or you think of your own life, when things started working out, it happened because of a chance encounter on an attempt. It didn't happen in your head. It happened by live feedback. You took action, you succeeded in producing results. Maybe it wasn't the result you wanted, right? But then from that, you tweaked your approach, you pivoted, and you produced a new result. When you pivot, you get feedback, you produce a new result. And the more you can endure those failures and pivots and tweaks temporarily, the quickly you're going to be able to adapt and come up with actions that will get you to succeed and produce the results that you want in your life. So, kind of like Grant Cardone says, and I want to leave you guys off with this thought, is that most people, certainly in the US, most people will make $1 million in their lifetime. The only question is if they're going to do it, and if you're going to do it in 20 years, or 10 years, or 1 year, or this year. And maybe make it something to consider in your mind, because I want to promise you that although enemy that although complexity is the enemy of execution, although that's true, I want to encourage you to beat it by taking action, because speed beats perfection 7 days a week. So I hope this video inspires you, makes you think about things in a new way, and maybe encourage you to take some urgent action in your own life. I want to encourage you to give yourself that gift. If you guys enjoyed that video, make sure to smash the subscribe button right now. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want me to talk about, what you guys want me to share, and how we can help take your life, your business, and your mindset to the next level. It's my mission to humanize greatness one story at a time. And again, my name is Omar Elattar, host and creator of the Passionate Few podcast, and I'm honored that you spent 10 minutes here with me today learning the #1 foundational difference, how it applies to your life just as much as it applies to my life, just as much as it's applied to some of the top multi-millionaire, multi-billion-dollar entrepreneurs out there in the world, because I've seen it be the #1 truly foundational difference, and that is urgency. So go out there and take some urgent action. Comment in the description below, in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know urgent actions that you're committed to taking for 2019. I'm gonna hold you accountable though. So hit that subscribe button, drop your comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, thank you for being one of the passionate